Hi, everybody, and welcome back. We're here 3 weeks in a row. I'm pretty impressed with us, Kari. Pod
Yes.
What Happens Live. You're here with us, where we will talk all things Bravo. I'm your host, Katie. I'm here with my wonderful co-host, Kari. Oh, I have the YouTube up, and it was echoing in my ear, so I just got really nervous. How are you?
I'm good. How are you? I have something exciting to tell you that I didn't even
Ooh,
mention before because I
I'm
want to see
excited.
your expression in
Okay.
person. So, yesterday I'm on Twitter and I had a DM, but like it was different than a normal DM that I got because, or like
Oh,
if you were to DM me, you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like it was like from someone you may know. And so I open
Mm.
it and it's the
Wait, that's a
reporter
thing on
from the
Twitter?
apparently, I just learned this
Interesting.
yesterday.
Okay.
So, it's a reporter from the Wall Street Journal who yeah, okay, that was my because 'cause I'm looking at this, I'm like, "What?" Um,
Okay.
and, uh, so the DM says something along the lines of like, "Hey, I write about, like, streaming services for the Wall Street Journal, and I saw your tweet back in May saying
About
that you
StreamYard?
only." Oh, no, 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 not about
Oh.
StreamYard, about I don't even know if I tweet about StreamYard.
Oh, I thought
Um,
maybe you were rage tweeting about StreamYard because of
I
the
mean, it
internet issues.
deserves a rage tweet from
Yeah, it
every now and
does.
again, but, I think I had replied to someone's tweet saying something along the lines that, like, I will only pay for one ad-free streaming service at a
Yes.
time
Mhm.
because,
Famously.
like yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
again, I spend most of my time on Peacock. Why am I going to pay 15 plus dollars a month for ad-free Hulu? It doesn't make
Yeah.
sense. And so she reached out about it and was like, "Can I talk to you?" So today I talked to her on the phone for an article during
Oh
my
my god,
lunch.
what's the article about?
Uh I guess she like kind of exclusively writes about like different streaming
Mhm.
services or whatever for the Wall Street Journal, and so she's focusing on like why people choose ads versus no ads and just like things around that. And so she
Yeah.
asked me like, "Well, why?" And I explained to like, "Well, I was like, I will only pay for one." And she's like, "Which one right now?" I said Peacock, and she's like, "Well, what are you watching?" Like obviously Vanderpump
Ma'am.
Rules because
Yeah. Hello.
um like and she just laughed. I was like, "I actually just paused the like this week's episode to talk to you." And um she's like, "So why Peacock?" I was like, "Honestly, I podcast about shows from Bravo, and I've just been trying to take over every single show in terms of
Yes.
like watching it. I'm just trying to be the new Andy Cohen. So there's a
Did you give us a
chance that
plug?
I tried to. I don't know if she
Okay.
caught Silent Podcast. We'll see.
Okay.
But I did say I podcast about it on Silent Podcast. We have a show all about Bravo TV shows. But I did say I'm trying to be the next Andy Cohen. So
Mm.
there's a chance that if she puts that quote in there, if you search Andy Cohen, you'll
Oh, he
also
might
see
see it.
Carrie Dahlia in the
That's
same thing.
wild. Maybe she'll tweet it out with that quote at the top too, and it can be like
Maybe.
the tagline for the or whatever. The lead, is that what it's called in journalism?
Yeah, it could be. I have no idea. But that was like a 10-ish minute call I had at lunch
That's
today
pretty
was
amazing.
yeah, and I think this is the funny part to me. The reason why it came in as like someone you may know is because we both have one common follower, which is Barack Obama. So I think it didn't go to like a spam or anything because
Yeah.
Barack Obama both or
Well,
follows
shout
both of
out
us.
to Barack Obama, former president, still pulling
N-
through for us.
Yeah,
That's
number
amazing.
44 in the books, number
Yep.
1 in my heart.
Yep.
And so
What a
yeah,
guy. What a guy.
that's that happened today. Just kind of crazy.
That is a little crazy, but it's amazing.
Yeah. And I'm so hoping that me saying I want to be the next Andy Cohen is in this news article.
I hope
I don't
he
know
like
who it will
sees
be.
it. I hope he like engages with it. I hope it becomes a thing.
If his name's in it, I'll 100% tweet at him like once a day
Oh
until
my
he
God.
responds to me. Be
Maybe we could
like,
get him on the podcast. He's been
"Listen,
doing the
I'm
rounds.
coming for your job, so
We
I
can
read your
ask him
book."
about his
Just
book.
kidding.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'll read it. I read
Yeah.
two of his other ones. One of his other ones. They are all kind of the same. They're all kind of the same thing. I gotta be honest.
I just I I don't wanna sound dumb by this next sentence. I
Okay.
don't read books, but it's not because I don't enjoy reading books, it's because I have to spend so much time reading, like, peer-reviewed
Yeah. No, that
articles
makes sense.
that I am all of my reading capabilities go into that. I just don't want to read anymore. The time between my master's and my doctorate, I was reading a lot, but
Hmm.
now I'm just like, "No, I wanna play
You need a break.
puzzles on my phone and watch
Yeah.
Bravo."
And there's nothing wrong with that. That's basically my life is playing solitaire on my phone and having Vanderpump Rules on in the background. That's been like my last 3 months of my life.
Yeah, mine's basically that, except instead of solitaire, it's nonograms.
I should look up nanograms. I'm
They're
getting burnt
fun.
out on the
They're
solitaire.
Yeah, I, like, switch between games, but I've had nonograms forever. My goal is it's called Nonograms 999, but they keep adding
Mm.
puzzles, so I have to imagine that there's more than 999 puzzles at this point. I got 999 problems. No. But anyway, so yeah, I wanted it to be a surprise and tell you. I didn't want to tell you about it before because I
That's
wanted your
amazing.
reaction to be on
Yeah.
here. Um, so yeah, what also scares me though, while we're still talking about this, is like I tweet dumb shit on the regular, and that's
So people
also
can just like find it. It's
yes, like that
findable.
was a reality check because I had just previously, like literally 10 minutes prior to seeing this DM, quote tweeted there's like a picture of Four Loco going around with like
Okay.
what
Yeah.
the original thing is. It's like equivalent to like a Red Bull, some shots, whatever. And I said like, oh, having a Four Loco original recipe TM is the closest I've ever come to doing hard drugs. And that's like
Yeah.
the top tweet on my timeline. And she's also asking
I love
me
it.
to be in the Wall Street Journal.
I love it. I love it.
And that also means like Barack Obama has had to have seen at least one of my tweets in his lifetime
Do
because
you
he's
think
followed
he
me for
checks
like
those?
14
Me
years.
too. He follows me too. He was one of my first followers.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
And it's like he's had to see some of our dumb shit.
I don't think he's looking at that Twitter. Do you think so?
I
He's
do.
reading. I think he has a burner that he uses to engage. That's what I think about every famous person is that they have a burner. That's what they use to engage with people or like to actually read what's going on. And then they have their like famous person Twitter. Although there are a lot of dumbass famous people out there that don't realize that their likes are public.
Yeah, I don't think Barack's one of them, but
No.
in my perfect world, he is using that account, but then it also takes away the perfect aspect very quickly because I respect Barack Obama probably more than any human on this planet.
Oh,
I don't know who I would put above him, honestly.
I'm
Like
thinking
Steph
about who
Curry
I
might be my
respect the
number
most.
2.
Hmm.
I don't know if Steph Curry would actually be my number 2, but I don't think that there's someone I respect more than Barack Obama. And knowing that there is a chance of all the dumb shit I've said on that Bird app that he could see one, some, or all of it is
Yeah.
a little overwhelming when I think about it.
Well, my feeling is that he would have unfollowed me a long time ago if he was actually reading these tweets. So that's how I know he's not using it
Or
because
he's
there's
a
no
big
reason
Bravo
for him.
fan. He's a
Or he's
big
a Bravo fan, or he likes some of my political takes, or he likes to sometimes see Big Brother tweets for the live
Mhm.
feeds. You know, you never know what the guy's interested in.
Yeah, we align with him politically, so
True. I'm a little more left than Barack Obama, I do have to say. I'm
Oh,
more
I
like a
mean
Bernie Sanders. But,
oh,
you know, I
yes.
voted for
Yeah,
Barack Obama as many
yeah.
times as I was allowed to, which was twice.
I
Well,
did
and the
not stuff the
primary, so
ballot
4 times.
box.
No, I did not. All right, should we jump into the Bravoverse?
Yeah, I didn't ask you how you were. I very much absorbed the
Oh, I'm
first 10
fine.
minutes of this podcast. Is there anything you'd like to tell the people?
No, I'm like still plowing through my Vanderpump rewatch. I'm like in Vanderpump overload right now, but I
Mhm.
just hit season 7, and that's the season where Jax proposes to Brittany, and the season where I like dipped out. No, I shouldn't say dipped out. That's I can't. That's a Scandoval. where I just like ditched it last time. I mean, I have always kept up with it, but I was in and out. I was not a religious Vanderpump Rules person as of like season 7. I never saw Brittany and Jax's wedding. Is it on the show?
Okay. I honestly don't remember.
I don't remember either. So I like know the storylines. I've kept up with it, but I never, So now I'm like, am I going to keep going? Am I going to drop it again? We'll see. I kind of want to start Real Housewives of New York over again. This is what my life is. It's just Bravo. I'm not getting cool interviews.
I mean, if you just tweet about I actually have some like anti-Peacock tweets if she were to go back.
Oh,
Yeah, because this fucking streaming, it's gotten a
because
little
the
bit
app was kind
better.
of bad. Yeah, it's better now.
Yeah, it's better, but it's still not great. I still have issues if I like pause.
Me too.
Like, so for example, and like my boss, if you're listening to this, if you look, I've been productive as fuck lately. So know that like I'm not, even though it's on, it's not taking my attention. I sit here where my regular computer is right now, will be my work computer, and here will be my personal one. And I'll have it on the side. And if I like pause it, because like there's things I can do with sound on and there's things I can't do with sound on.
Yeah.
So if I pause to like take care of things and then I go to turn back on, it just doesn't unpause. It just like goes to a screen. And like Peacock has to be made. Well, they're upping their price, which kind of sucks.
They are?
Like, I think so. I think it ends like June 26th. I've kind of been avoiding it as like a ignorance is bliss type of thing. But I remembered getting like some sort of notification, like your pricing ends at this point, blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, not today, Satan. I'm still at $5 a month.
I guess I should check my emails. I never check my emails, my personal
It
emails.
wasn't even like an email. It was as I signed in on like Roku somewhere.
I'll have to check.
So, yeah.
My main issue with Peacock is that it doesn't have a thing right at the top that just lets me pick up where I left off.
Yes, you
like
have to
let me
down,
just
like,
go
4.
right. Yeah, why do I have to scroll down 100 times to find what I was watching? That should be at the top.
And then my last Peacock complaint is when you watch a show, especially like one that's aired this week. So, for example, if Nene Leakes wasn't the reason that Real Housewives of Atlanta wasn't on Peacock on Monday, which we'll get into.
Yes.
Normally, I'll watch Atlanta first, and then I'll watch Martha's Vineyard after. And then, but like at the end of the episode, Atlanta has automatically been going into Martha's Vineyard. Then after Martha's Vineyard, it'll just bring you to like some other show. It might be Summer House. It might be not be. I just got a brand new one today when after I finished watching OC. I'm like, where the fuck is this bringing me? So then the worst part is like there will be times where, so like right now we're in the middle of an Atlanta season. So let's say I watch Real Housewives of New Jersey. It'll bring me to like episode 1 of this season of Atlanta. And I'm like, bro, I'm on episode
you
6.
should know that what episode we're on.
And it's not, well, like I've even watched the most recent one. So like, why are you bringing me back to the beginning of this most recent season when like then the next time I go to click, like, let me watch the next episode of Atlanta, it starts at episode 1. Like, this is not logical.
Yeah, no.
Hire me, Peacock. I will gladly yell at you for a day. I just need a day's pay to yell at you, and I will give you all the ideas you need to fix your shit.
Yeah, they need to do some like user surveys or something like that, just like some user research to figure out what needs to happen, because it's not really doing it right now. I mean, but the content's good, which is all I really care about. But it is an annoying user experience for sure.
Yeah, they tweeted back at me and I was like, no, I'm not going to do whatever you just said. I can't remember what it was, but I was like, no, it should not take me like going out of my way to correspond with you while I'm supposed to be working for you to figure out the pause button.
Right. It should be pretty self-explanatory. Pause, unpause, pause, unpause. That's it.
Yep.
That's it. Well, here we are. We're in a post-Scandoval world. I'm pivoting to Bravo official.
Yeah, let's do
Peacock is Bravo adjacent because it's basically the Bravo streaming network now, at least. And they're leaning into it finally, which is good.
The extended like reunions and stuff and everything.
Yeah. We're in a post-Scandoval world now, officially. I watched half an hour of the secrets revealed, and then I was like, there's not going to be any good secrets revealed in this. I'm going to go do something else. And then I never picked it back up. Did you watch?
Yeah. I watched it today. I was watching it when that woman called me. I had
What were
seen
your thoughts?
some of it. I just felt like they weren't necessarily secrets, but it was more so watching some of these scenes, knowing what we
Yes.
know. And like, I can't imagine like Ariana watching some of them. Like, they were, when they, did you, the roller skating one was in like the first half of it, I think. Did you see when
Yeah,
her
I
and
think
Sandoval
so.
went roller skating and they basically like sat down and had this whole conversation of like Ariana going to bat so fucking hard for Raquel. Raquel's not even there. And Sandoval just sitting there and like giving these looks of just I don't know. It was uncomfortable. I felt bad for Ariana in quite a few of these.
Yeah.
Um
The scene where
we
she goes to their house the day after they hooked
mhm
up for the first time is
mhm
so unhinged. And the way he's looking at her when she's sitting on the floor talking about making out with Oliver when they had just had sex the night before, supposedly for the first time, in a car in
yeah.
front of the very same house. It's just sick. I don't know. It's just the whole thing is sick that these two people can do this and live their lives as if
When
nothing's happening.
yeah, and he's like, "Oh my god, it's been so long since I've seen you." Like, "What,
Yeah,
seen you
like,
naked? Oh wait, that was
right,
still only like 8 hours ago too."
right.
I so the other issues I couldn't sleep last night, so I was on TikTok for a long fucking time.
Hmm.
So I'd seen a lot of the clips on TikTok and this girl was like narrating it and she's like, "There are people who take international flights who are on the plane longer than the last time you saw
Yeah.
her, Sandoval."
Hmm. So disgusting. He's a disgusting pig.
Yeah, there that I mean, given well, let me backtrack. That episode didn't do anything positive for Sandoval, not that anything positive
I don't
needs to
think
happen
anything
for
could be done.
Sandoval.
I don't think it's possible to do anything.
No, I mean, they probably could have picked different scenes that, like, maybe weren't as, like, "Oof, this is very uncomfortable," but I just wonder, like, what's their are they gonna just play him up as, like, the biggest reality TV villain? Do they want him to be Jax 2.0? Like, what's Vanderpump Rules' next step? Because you know he's gonna be on I think everybody's coming back next season. I saw that rumor somewhere. I don't know if that's
Yeah, the
true.
rumors are swirling right now. I think it seems like they might have started filming. So James had a See You Next Tuesday event.
Mhm.
I think on Tuesday. I guess it was this Tuesday. I don't really know. And Jax was supposed to be like co-hosting with him, which is wild because I'm deep in the throes of him and Jax hating each other. And Jax couldn't come because of a family emergency. I don't know, but James was like making people say like, "We love you, Jax." But Sheena came and sang "Good as Gold." But cameras were there, so I think they filmed that for the show. It seems like. Which, like, how many times do we need to see Sheena sing "Good as Gold" on Vanderpump Rules? Not that many more. We filled our quota here.
She gets her
Um,
one for the season for being I think like Sheena's in a good spot right now
yeah,
in terms of just like who she is and how we're getting to see her. That you can have your one karaoke moment, but we don't need more.
no. Plus, like, "Good as Gold" lives in my brain. "Good as Gold" and "The Ring Didn't Mean a Thing" by Kim Zolciak are the two songs that I cannot get out of my head. I literally will just start singing Ring Didn't Mean a Thing, whoa, in my house, just walking around doing nothing. And it's like always in my head. I said the other day to Matt, I was like, how do I make this stop? And he was like, just stop. I'm like, I can't stop. So too bad Kim Zolciak's not getting residuals from my brain because she needs them. Um, anyway, but yeah, I guess whatever. Sheena can have it. But
Just
I
one.
saw, yeah, just one. I saw that Charlie said that she was asked back as a full-time cast member, but she doesn't know she's going to come back because she doesn't want to
I
have to film with Raquel as like her quote unquote friend and have those
yeah.
conversations because she's actually Ariana's friend.
Yeah, I retweeted the thing being saying baby come back because Charlie's been on for 2 seasons and
Yeah,
she's
I like Charlie.
yeah, I absolutely think she's phenomenal. I think
Yeah.
she's so quick-witted. I think she's so funny, and she's smart that, like, it balances out, like, the Raquels of it all.
Hmm. And it seems like
So
there's a relationship there with people. Like it sounds like she's friends with Ariana. We know she's friends with
mhm.
Katie. They go hiking and stuff
Yeah.
together. Seems like there's drama with Lala, which could be interesting for the show. So like I would like it if she came back. She also referenced that she didn't really want to film with Jax if Jax came back. And like, we don't need Jax. We do not need
No.
Jax. There's going to be nothing that Jax and Brittany can give us other than like them being parents. And like, I don't need Brittany and her like beer cheese as like characters on my show anymore. Like, I don't, it's the time is up on them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I also don't understand why there's only like a 2-year suspension for racism, but
Yeah. Can we like remember why these people are not on the show in the first place?
mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, they already had Kristen back for like a little drop in for the last, and like while I understand, I also think you didn't need that scene if you're
Yeah.
like going to stand by means Bravo. They don't stand by
Yep.
shit. So
No, they don't. Bravo doesn't take a stand on anything.
no.
We know
Um
that.
uh sidebar is that the season of Summer House I'm watching
Hmm.
is I know you said you haven't watched pre-COVID. So like all the
Yeah.
seasons you watched are ones that I'm yet to get to, but
Yeah.
um as you know, it starts with like Stassi in the hot tub as Steve
Hmm.
Jobs. And
Hmm.
it's the season where like she's with Bo, Katie, and Schwartz come for like a weekend. And Schwartz he has to like go to the hospital because he's like shitting his brains out.
Oh, I
So
didn't
I had
even
a
know this
nice little,
happened.
yeah, it was a nice little crossover.
Oh.
It was the weekend before Kyle proposed to Amanda, and he like told
Oh.
Schwartz, and Schwartz was like, "Whoa, like this is too much information for me. This is too big." Schwartz came off very likable in that episode. Um,
Ugh. I have a lot to say about Schwartz in a minute. Once we wrap up the I was going to say Sandoval, the rest of the Vanderpump Rules stuff. I don't think there's that much to say. I just feel like I don't know what life is like without this scandal taking over every week of my brain at this point
mhm.
because when it broke, the show was already airing and it's just been airing forever and now it's just like I guess we're just going to have to read rumors online. It feels like it's been 6 months of
Yeah,
this.
no, truly, it has been. I do hope that the Bravo people take away like how enthralling this was, and like imagine if they had approached Teresa's wedding with Melissa not going and Joe not going
Yeah.
in a similar fashion. I just think it's like an entirely different season, and there's going to be things like that happen,
Of
and
course.
instead of trying to cover it up like we don't find out about it the minute it happens from 8 different spoiler accounts, like embrace it and create the show in a way that like, no, I need to go and see what happens because I know the overall ending. I know the Titanic sunk. I want to see it hit the iceberg. And
Totally.
I'm hoping that Bravo learns a lesson from this.
I hope so too. We'll see. Um, what I was going to say about Schwartz is I watched the first two episodes of Stars on Mars. So
Oh, I
I'm
need to watch
caught
that.
up. It's kind of good. It's
Oh, okay.
dumb as hell, but it's like fun. It's literally Big Brother on a fake space station or
Is it
Mars,
on
whatever.
Fox?
It is on Fox.
Classic.
It's like D F list level celebrities with like Natasha Leggero thrown in there, who I guess no, she's like pretty D list for like I mean, she's famous for comedians, but she's like pretty D list in general. I would say the most famous people are Marshawn Lynch,
Mhm.
Richard Sherman, and Lance Armstrong.
Yeah.
Everyone else is like a total D list nobody.
Is it like Ronda Rousey on there?
Oh yeah, Ronda Rousey.
She's
She's
a
pretty
pretty big
famous.
name.
I guess it's
Yeah.
the athletes that are the big ones,
Yeah.
and then there's Schwartz. There was Tallulah Willis, the guy who played McLovin, which I feel bad because he was like everybody calls me McLovin, and I was like, yeah, I don't actually know your name. Who
Yeah.
else is there? Portia. Oh,
Yep.
Tinashe. She's famous too. I guess it is like
Mhm.
I'm surprised Tinashe lowered herself to do this show, but it's pretty funny. And Schwartz comes off like okay, he comes off kind of likable in the same way he came off in the beginning of Vanderpump Rules, where he is just a
Mhm.
big dumb idiot dog that is just like look at me, love me, and everybody's like kind of loving him. But then he like is also a fuck up, so it's like oh he's exactly the same. But he did talk
Mhm.
about Scandoval this week, and
Yeah.
he is on this woe is me tour of like people make it seem like I was an accomplice, but like I don't condone it. I don't condone this. Like I feel bad. I feel bad. So I'm like, you're really doing this, aren't you? I listened to the podcast with Jax, even though last week I very publicly said I was not going to do it. I did it. I listened to the whole goddamn thing. And he was like, I took a break, whatever, but he's just spinning his own narrative to try and save himself. I don't believe anything that he's saying. He was right up there maligning Ariana, making it seem like she was, an asshole to Sandoval, making her the villain. But like, he knew all that stuff happened. He was making jokes about it while they were camping after he knew they already slept together. Like, bro, you're not innocent.
No.
But he's like, I'm not the one that had the affair. But everyone's like maligning me. Like, and I'm like, well, you are the company you keep, my guy.
Yeah, that's the issue is like, this isn't an isolated event of Tom Schwartz being a piece of shit. He's just not the same type of piece of shit that Sandoval is. He is a different type of piece of shit.
Exactly.
But I mean, we all know that there are different ways you can take a shit. And so
yes.
that's the best way I can compare it.
That was like from a philosopher, I feel like. You just became a philosopher.
Socrates over here. Yeah, I saw TMZ like run up on Sandoval as if he like didn't call them and be like, I heard that Schwartz is done with you. And
oh,
like,
that
no.
I didn't see.
Yeah, and he's like, no, he said he's done with Scandoval. He's not done with Sandoval. We're fine. So Schwartz is out here being like,
I'm sure they're talking like every day. Yeah, they own businesses. I'm sorry, a business. They don't own TomTom. They're like 5% partners in TomTom.
Mm-hmm.
But the other one, I mean, of course they're communicating. Let's not be ridiculous.
Yeah. I could see, I mean, like, he probably wasn't talking to him while he filmed Stars on Mars or whatever. And they're not like seeing each other every day. And Sandoval isn't using his apartment as like a hideout for his affair.
Maybe he is.
Who knows? Who knows? So, yeah, not that I'm over the drama because I certainly have loved every second of it. And it's what got me back into like to watch the last 2 seasons.
Yeah.
I'm just ready for something else to take its place.
Yeah, me too.
I'm
ready for what's next.
Yeah, and I am going to say I am a little nervous for if everybody comes back next season.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need like 16 episodes of people showing up at like TomTom and then just screaming at each other. You know what I mean?
Neither do I. I was tired in the third reunion episode.
Mm-hmm.
And I know we talked about it at length last week, but not because I feel sorry for Raquel. I think she laid her bed and she had to lay in it. But it's just like, we're getting nowhere here.
Yeah.
Do this on your own time.
I've been seeing some not so great things about James, how they're trying to like suppress. Yeah.
Me too. Which, as a longtime James fan, if this is true, and of course you have to believe people when they say things like this.
Mm-hmm.
I can't support James anymore, and that upsets me. He has been silent about the allegations that have come from this blogger, I guess, that got information from Kristen or Kristen's friend or something.
Kristen.
It's a little hard for me to follow, but Kristen confirmed, yeah.
And add on like the accusation that was made at the actual reunion with like, I mean, I don't want to be rude, but it's also like not the most surprising thing. Someone who's that verbally aggressive to then just leave it at verbal aggression.
Yeah.
And you still have the question mark of, did he accidentally headbutt her to kiss her?
Yeah, that was very questionable.
We saw Raquel lie in front of her castmates for Tom Sandoval. Why couldn't she lie in front of people for James? So,
and listen, Raquel sucks, but she doesn't deserve that, obviously. And unfortunately, when that happens to people, there's like often shame attached to it. She probably was made to feel like it was her fault, whatever, if that's what happened. So like, I feel for her if that's the case. for that specific. I feel for her with her relationship with James through a lot of it because it's fresh in me now in my rewatch. He was horrible to
Yeah.
her for the
Yeah.
majority of their relationship. So
Yeah.
until really probably he stopped drinking,
Drinking.
I would think. Um so, you know, I guess we'll see what happens, but I don't think James is going anywhere anytime soon. He's having a moment in the press, in the public, whatever. Like, aside from this allegation, the allegation we haven't said it specifically, but that he was physically abusive to Kristen. Probably not only Kristen. So, it's alleged. We don't know. He hasn't said anything about it. But Kristen has been alluding to it on podcasts. She confirmed it in, I guess, Instagram DMs to the person who posted it. The person who posted it, though, I did see on Reddit has a little bit of a credibility issue. Not that I'm saying that this is an issue, but just in general, this person who posted it, I guess, with some of the Beverly Hills stuff with that guy who was making up lies, they were like supportive Patrick something.
Yeah.
So who knows? But it's a mess out there. But I hope, that sucks. I'm not going to say I hope it's not true. I hope it's not true for Kristen's sake, not because I like James. Just for Kristen's sake, I hope that it's not true. But I doubt that she would make that up, and we believe victims on this podcast. So I guess I can no longer be a James stan, unfortunately. What are you going to do? Gotta cut the cord. It was a problematic relationship anyway, for me and my standum. I knew he was a problem.
Verbal meme. Katie, handshake, problematic white men on reality TV shows.
Not all of them. Not all of them. Only a select few.
Yeah, not all. Just there's
only
a pattern.
Only James and Brett from Big Brother 20.
Kyle, you said, was problematic.
Oh, yeah.
Although he's like, I don't know if he's problematic.
I don't think he's problematic.
He's, like, drunk.
Yeah, he's just a drunk mess. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be others in our
I don't think there's others. I'm thinking through very quickly doing an index. I don't think there's others. Okay. I think those were really the three. So, what are you gonna do? Well, strike one off the list. And Brett from Big Brother 20, it's just because he had some speeches on the show that made me laugh. And I would actually be on Rockstar's side. If you're a Big Brother fan, you'll know what I mean. So anyway, so we'll see what happens moving forward with Vanderpump. We'll keep everybody updated with some of the casting news if we hear it, but we'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't be surprised if Ariana left the show.
Yeah, she's in a weird spot because like she's making so much money.
Yeah, it's like almost like be above it. Go be in New York with your new dude, make money hand over fist, ride the wave until it crashes.
Yeah. And I mean, I saw that she had a role in like a Hallmark movie or whatever.
Oh yeah, she's playing a cop in a Lifetime movie or something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's Hallmark. I don't know.
It's probably a Lifetime, to be honest. But yeah,
I don't think they allow police officers on Hallmark unless it's like a movie because that's like too dramatic for them.
Maybe. I don't even know much about. I don't know if I've ever had the Hallmark Channel on a television.
I have not had it ever, but I just assume it's all like, I'm in love with this person and then they love me at Christmas time.
Yeah, that's actually what I was imagining.
Yeah.
As well. No, all right. Well, I don't know if she'll come back.
Yeah, well, we'll see. All right. Well, any last Vanderpump thoughts?
Nope. See you next season.
Bye. Let's move on to Real Housewives of Orange County. This isn't a Vanderpump thought, but it's like it almost feels weird to just go back into an only Housewives rotation after, not really only, but like a mainly Housewives rotation after Vanderpump has taken up our entire lives and like media culture, pop culture sphere for the last, shockingly, it's only been since March, I think, that this information came out. So 3 months. But we're back with Real Housewives of Orange County. We talked about it last week. We had our second episode this week. It just feels weird to like settle back into Housewives mode.
Yeah, I can see what you're saying. Because in a way, like, there isn't a lot of good Housewives on right now. Like,
well, for a long time, it was only Jersey.
Yeah, and I don't know, even Jersey's been.
No, Jersey this season was horrible.
Like, yeah,
it was horrible.
So Atlanta hasn't been good this season. New Jersey season wasn't great, and then so it's weird to be like, Oh, I'm kind of excited to watch Orange County because
Yeah,
when was the last time you said that?
it's been years. Truly,
Right.
it's been years. Yeah, it's weird. It just feels like, okay, now we're kind of like returning to form with some of these, the housewife shows every night. And I think it doesn't help too that like the reunion for Vanderpump was on at the same time the reunion for Jersey was on, at the same time the reunion for Summer House was on. So it was just like a million reunions everywhere. Everything was wrapping up kind of at the same time. It just feels like it's been a little while since we had some like normal routine. So it's kind of good to be
Mhm.
back. Even though, well, what were your thoughts this week on OC?
I hated that Shannon, like, was proving Tamara right in this
Me too.
episode.
But it did make me laugh.
'Cause I am if I had to pick, not if you had to, because I know what your choice is.
Mm.
If I had to pick between Tamara and Shannon, I'm going to go with Tamara, knowing that Shannon's the better human. However,
Yeah,
Tamara, the housewife, is just, like, such quality television, and for Tamara to, like, make this scene about Shannon just, like, not giving what she needed out of her in a friendship and, like, "You only checked in a couple of times, I need you to check in more, and everything needs to be about you, and by the way, you drink too much," and then, like, cue to a boat, and every single thing Tamara said about Shannon, like,
it's like
Shannon
in a slur.
exemplified within 5
Oh,
minutes.
yeah. Well, yep, she did. But I have to say, I am not excited that Tamara's back. I was excited when it was announced. And I think I told you last week when I saw her on the screen, before she even did anything, I was just like, oh, oh. And it just hit me. It was a reaction. It was like a reflex. I was like, oh, I'm not excited. And then this week cemented for me why exactly I'm not excited that Tamara's back. I think she's amping it up to an 11 and she doesn't need to just be a normal person, kind of like Heather did last year. It was just like too much. Whereas Heather this
Mhm.
season is like, I mean, it's only been 2 episodes, but she's like a little more palatable for me so far because she's not so over the top like fancy pants. But I really don't think I can stand Tamara. I just
I'm
don't
okay
know.
with it right now. I feel like
Ugh,
this is typical Tamra.
I
Just
wanted to
like,
push her off the boat.
I mean, she was being dramatic of like, I'm gonna jump off this boat right now, whatever. But it doesn't, I don't know, that doesn't really bother me. And I think it's because in the instance of this situation, she was right. And so, not about like wanting to jump off the boat, but like,
I think she's right
Jen
about wanting to jump
was
off the
in
boat.
the middle of
No, she
telling
absolutely was.
something
That
like
is the truth.
incredibly like important. And um I think especially like being a parent is already a lot of someone's personality, sometimes unfortunately, and then
Hmm.
to take on a parenting role that's outside the norm
Sure.
is to just be able to like have an under for people around you to have an understanding of like, yeah, this is what I like. For 3 years she was fighting to adopt this kid, and in the middle of explaining that, Shannon's like, "John, is that you on a boat?
Hmm.
Fucking what do you use to measure like water? I know in below deck they say like meters, but it's like,
Oh, I have
I
no
don't know,
idea.
nauticals away or whatever."
Yeah. Nautical miles? I don't know.
Maybe, I don't know. I have not been on many boats in my life.
No, me neither.
So it was just like, damn, Shannon, she just, and the other thing is like Tamara told her all those things to her face about her. And then to like a day later, just like go and live up to Tamara's hype is like,
Mhm.
Shannon, come on, girl. I want to root for you. I am rooting for you. But you can't just like play into Tamara's hands like that, and she should know better.
Yeah, she
More
should.
than anyone on that cast, she should know better. Maybe to have one less glass of wine and maybe like
Oh,
count to
I
3
feel
before
like
you
Shannon
speak.
was too drunk this week.
Oh, she was later. It wasn't during the actual yelling part, but it was later on the boat. Her and Heather were,
Oh, well, yeah. Well, Heather taking asking for the shots and then taking a little sip of it, throwing the glass and then breaking the glass on the boat. Like, what are you doing?
yeah.
I mean, yes, I don't disagree with anything that you're saying, but that's what makes Shannon Shannon. And that's why I love Shannon, is because she has
Mhm.
no self awareness and she really makes me laugh because of her lack of self awareness. Like,
Mhm.
I love that Jen was talking about her foster adoption story, and Shannon was like, "Oh, was that John's son?" I was just like, "This is my favorite thing right now that this happened," because like I don't know, that's funny to me. And then even when she was apologizing, and then also made the apology about herself, I was like, "This is why I love Shannon because she is just too funny to me."
Do um what do you think of Jen?
I am not getting too attached. I don't
Okay.
know if she's going to be more than a one season wonder, but we'll see. She's all right, I guess.
I think she's gonna come for Heather.
I wouldn't be surprised if that were the truth,
I think
which I
that
love. I want everybody to
yeah.
come for Heather. I hate Heather.
Was it okay, I can't remember if it was Heather or Emily that was like not Heather. If it was Jen or Emily that's like, "Oh, Heather's an interrupter." And then they
It
showed
was Emily.
it was, yeah.
Yeah.
You could tell that, like, Jen's getting annoyed with it, but Emily picks up on it, and Emily's just, like, really good at dropping little bombs to, like,
Yeah.
ignite things, so maybe they'll come up that way, but I have a feeling that Jen's gonna come for Heather. I'm feeling
I'm
it in my
okay with
bones.
it.
This is not a spoiler. This is a I think
A
that's gonna
gut
happen.
feeling.
I also think that it's because okay, I feel like Gina and Jen are kind of, like, on the same level in terms
Yeah.
of their I don't wanna say, like, deservedness of being a housewife, but,
Their
like, they don't
financial situation.
yeah, okay, we could say it that way. But Gina, like, melts in the presence of Heather, and Jen is like, "Fuck you, rich bitch." And so I
Yeah.
feel like that's we're gonna see some of that, and I feel like it's gonna be exciting.
Listen, this woman with Steve Madden shoes has nothing to lose. So she better leave it all on the goddamn table so she can get a second season. It's all I'm saying. I mean, you got to come for the big dogs if you're not in a way that is obvious, though. You can't do it that way. But make it authentic and you can nail yourself a second season for sure, at least. And it's been a while since anyone on the OC that's new has had a second season. So, but for some reason we can't get rid of Gina and Emily. They're just sticking around. Emily,
I
I
don't
actually am enjoying. I will
yeah, I was
say,
gonna say, I don't mind Emily.
unfortunately, she allegedly is pretty deep in the QAnon space, according to
Oh,
Reddit. So I don't want to like Emily because of that. But I don't know if that's validated or not.
this is my first time hearing it, and
She is from the OC. So
yeah, I mean,
what are the odds that she's not part of QAnon? I mean, it's pretty low. No offense.
there's nothing else you need to say to me to convince me that it's true. I
Yeah.
just it was this is my first time hearing this information.
I've seen it around like bits and pieces of people. She has like some child, like maybe like human trafficking or child something in her link about like and that's always kind of a link. Not that I'm very much against human trafficking and like all of that stuff, but like, she's like part of like that vibe where people then talk about Pizzagate, which is like, I don't know if we want to go that far. So, that's kind of the vibe she's given off.
If Andy Cohen doesn't shut our show down for Pod What Happens Live and
Yeah.
being a straight ripoff, it's gonna be QAnon just
Well,
coming.
listen, I just want to be clear. I do not support human trafficking. I know it kind of came off like, I was like, well, she's anti human trafficking, so she's obviously QAnon. Listen, it's not like that. You guys know what I'm talking about. There's like the normal people that have a normal response to it, and then there's the QAnon people that have the QAnon response to it. And she's on the QAnon side of it. Those are the people that think the things about like drag queens and stuff. And like, we're not those people.
No, we're not.
Yeah. No, we're not.
Go dress how you want to. It does not affect me in the slightest.
No. Be yourself, celebrate yourself, spread love and happiness and positivity and joy. No drag queen has ever harmed a child
No.
in a way
I
that's been publicized that we know about. Well, we don't
right.
have to get into it.
Like
But you know who
asterisk.
has? Yeah. Well, yeah, that we know about.
Yeah.
It's not an epidemic the way that the media would
Yes.
make you think that it is.
Yeah.
And you know what it is? You guys know what it is. We don't need to talk about it. I don't want to get too deep into this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm digging myself a deeper hole. Anyway, so what else about the OC? Anything else? I just feel like, all right, I'm in for the ride. We'll see where we go. Tamara's over the top to me already in the second episode, and I'm just already exhausted by her. What do you think about Taylor? Kind of
I
forgot
told
she was there.
I told you before, like I don't care that she's back. There's like
Yeah.
nothing that exciting about it for me. We'll see. I'm not anti her being back
Hmm.
necessarily. I just am not like, "Oh my god, this is great." Like, I'm definitely have more of a reaction to Tamara being back than her.
Yes. Me too, in a negative way.
Why
Um,
wasn't Gina on the boat? They said it
she had
and I
COVID.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, she had COVID. Um, they showed a flashback of girls' trip at Dorinda's
Mhm.
house.
Mhm.
And listen, I'm just letting all my skeletons out of my closet here today with you, but and the public. But they showed Vicky, and I was like, man, I wish Vicky was back.
See, that thought never crosses my mind.
I think she's a monster, but she makes amazing television, and that's all that matters to me. But she is an
Mhm.
absolute monster. I mean, she's a
Yeah.
horrible person, but she makes me laugh on television. She is the OC. I just feel like they got rid of her for valid reasons, and it hasn't been the same since.
Mhm. They are in just, like, an overall weird place of you have a lot of people in a across especially the cities that have been around for, like, 10 plus years of, like, "Can we get rid of you?" Or, "Should we get rid of you?" And, "How much does it hurt us?" Or,
Yeah.
"Will it make us better?" And I'm sure that they're wrestling with that with New Jersey right now, and, um I mean, even, like, a lot of the Atlanta cast has been around forever and things
Hmm.
aren't going well, so with that and, like, bringing Tamara back, I guess we'll see, but, like, losing Vicky I mean, I don't think, like, losing Vicky is what made OC not great the last few seasons as much as it is, like, it's been weird. It's just not been
Yeah.
enjoyable.
It's I don't know what it is with the OC. I think it's just like not what it was as an area when the show
Mhm.
was created. So they don't have a great pool of people to cast from, which I would find
Yeah.
hard to believe, or people that are interested in being on the show. I don't know. I mean, Vicky, I'm not a Vicky fan. I just think she makes me laugh on television, but I don't root
Yeah.
for Vicky in her life. I'm not like, yeah, Vicky. Whereas like sometimes I do that for Teresa, let's say.
Yep.
But like I don't feel that way about Vicky at all. I just feel like they got rid of Vicky. I guess Tamara was on one season without Vicky. Then they got rid of Tamara. Then COVID. Then they had like a revolving door of housewives. Kelly Dodd was still on, and she's a monster. So it's just like been a weird vibe in the OC for a long time. So hopefully
Mhm.
they kind of hit their stride with this. But I don't think Heather's coming back next season. I'm pretty sure she moved to LA.
Oh, did she?
I think she sold that giant house that is her entire personality. So like
Oh.
I don't know.
Alright, bye, Heather.
Yeah. I mean, who knows? Maybe she'll move back. I don't know. But I don't know. I'm excited that OC is back. I'm excited to see where we go. It feels like we've been away from them for a long time. So
Yeah, 2 episodes into OC, I definitely have a higher, uh, like, disposition towards it than I did, like, 2 episodes into the season of Atlanta,
yes,
and I just, like, feel bad saying all this shit about Atlanta because like,
I know.
I love it, except right now.
Should we segue to Atlanta?
Yeah, let's do it.
So this week was interesting. Um, I what did you think?
I think
Shout
they're
out to
trying
Nene
to
Leaks, by
Yeah,
the way.
Nene Leakes really affected my Tuesday
Yeah,
because or Monday, I guess. I had to text Katie and I was like, "Was there not an episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta last night? Because it's not on Peacock." And we were going back and forth, and then
yeah.
like
We
we
both
both
were
went to
investigating.
yeah, we went to Twitter and it's like, "Oh, Nene can't be mentioned or shown on any of the housewives." So I had to go back and, like, edit the title card of an old season that they had shown to, like, take her out of the
But I think
image.
that's what they showed on TV. I think that the edited one was on the live show.
Oh, was it?
Well, I don't know. I mean, that's what because I saw it online before I actually watched the episode that everybody was like, wow, they really edited Nene out. And that was like the night of.
Oh, was it? Yeah, see, I don't even know, I just know that, like, we were put on pause to get this week's
We were put on pause.
episode of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and it has to do with Nene Leakes.
Wild stuff. I mean, listen, I understand that Nene sued them or whatever, but she's an icon and a legend.
Mhm.
She made Housewives. Tamra, I think we can give credit for like making the franchise of Real Housewives like into the drama fueled like relationships with the women that it is. Nene catapulted the Housewives into icon status
Yeah.
because I feel like she broke the barrier of keeping Housewives only on Bravo and then really catapulted the Housewives and herself and the Real Housewives of Atlanta into pop culture. For so
Mhm.
long, the Housewives of Atlanta was always the highest rated series
Yeah.
of all the Housewives. Nene has a huge part in that. I mean, the cast in general back then too was just iconic, but like she is by far the most iconic housewife. Whether or not you are a fan of her, like it's undeniable that she is like every other housewife is here and she's like all the way up here in terms of just like pop culture recognition and memes and career outside of the housewives, aside from I guess Bethany, but she's a flop. So, you
Mhm.
know, I don't know. I just feel like it's just sad where we are right now. And this is just proof we're never getting her back, which is just sad.
Yeah, there's definitely no way she's coming back.
Yeah.
It feels like with right now, they're trying to make us think that, like, Candy and Marlo have had a closer friendship than they ever really have. I
Hmm.
don't think that, like, Candy really lets people in, especially after Phaedra. I feel like
Yeah.
with Phaedra, it's kinda like I keep the housewives close,
Yeah.
or maybe, like, I keep my like, instead of my friends close, my enemies closer. It's like some variation of that where I don't think she really lets them in for, I mean, I guess good reasoning. We don't
Hmm.
whatever happened with that happened, but, um, I feel like they're trying to make us believe that, like, Marlo and Candy had a real friendship and that, like, this whole thing is and I don't wanna diminish it because I do not need Marlo coming after my ass. Marlo's nephew being murdered, this is not a
Hmm.
thing or an incident, being murdered, and Candy's lack of, like, affection in a response or giving flowers or sending flowers or showing empathy for her, whatever, um, it feels like they're trying to make us think that, like, the 2 of them had a deeper bond that has been broken over this, and then it just feels, like, weird that we're using, like, someone being murdered as the vehicle for drama. I don't like it.
Yeah, it is weird. I think what they did in the beginning, I kind of liked the transition in the beginning. Anytime you have unaired footage to show me to prove a
Yeah.
point, give it to me. I like that they gave us through the years of, I thought it was really interesting that they showed Candy saying everybody always brings up Marlo's past, but she's kind. And then we saw Candy do it multiple times.
Yes.
And I think there probably was a point where they were friendly or at least cordial, acquaintances because they're coworkers, and probably had a decent relationship. And that's probably when not the issue, I'm sorry, the murder of Marlo's nephew happened. So maybe she was expecting something more, or maybe it just like, I don't know. I can empathize with Marlo. What she said, I think she said to Sheree after the altercation in the place that actually looked kind of cool, where they were like, it was like a weird escape room situation.
Yeah.
Um,
I wouldn't mind doing that,
no, I
whatever
wish we
that
had those
was.
here. Yeah, that was so cool. Um, where she said something along the lines to Sheree of like, I didn't know it was bothering me until like whatever Drew said triggered her to have a moment. And she said, she screamed like, my nephew's dead, whatever. Like, I can understand how like grief and trauma and she's doing like her managers said like you're going through this life coaching stuff, you're revisiting all of these things, like maybe something just like triggered in you and you lost it because like you had this thing that you buried down deep inside of you. I don't know how much it has to do with Candy necessarily, but I can
Yeah.
understand like she kind of did. that text message of Marlo saying like, "This is my nephew. He was murdered last night," and Candy going like, "Damn, that's crazy." I don't like. Is that an appropriate response when someone tells you my nephew was shot last night? Damn, that's crazy. Like what? Not like, "Oh my
No.
god, that's horrible. Are you okay? Is your family okay?" All she got was like a, "Damn, that's crazy." That's fucked up.
Yeah,
I don't
no,
know.
I it's not a valid response. This is I'm not defending Candy with this. This is the only thing um that I can think of is I think we know above everything else Candy is going to protect her money. And so my if there is this connection, this old lady gang connection uh that brings Candy into it, I could understand or maybe not understand, but I could see the perspective being like I can't say much because I like there's a connection. That's the only thing that like makes sense to me, but because like clearly like even text messages aren't sacred with this show. It's
Yeah,
it's going to be aired if you aren't saying something the way that like someone wants you to be. So, if they're going to be pulled for a show, it means that they could be pulled for like legal things too
sure, sure.
obviously. So, I could see that, but nonetheless like it doesn't make how she responded empathetic, but it also then like kind of negates what's Candy's experience. Like wasn't her brother killed when she was like 15? And
Yes,
so
but I don't know how. Was it a shooting?
I don't know. Um I know she
I don't
said
remember.
in the show like my brother died when I was 15 or he was 15 and it kind of like numbed me to things. And so while Marlo may be looking for like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, blah, 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 like that Candy being like, oh, damn, that's crazy could just be her way of like dealing with her own trauma and
Yeah,
not getting into her own head with whatever she's had to experience because she's also referenced like, I've had cousins or whoever. And so, um, I think, like, especially when you're grieving, it's easy to be caught up in, like it's easy to project is probably the best way of putting it.
mm,
And so, um and also to forget, like, yes, I'm experiencing this in this instance right now, but it doesn't mean that the people around me aren't also experiencing stuff or have experienced things and need to react to me in a certain way to protect themselves. So I don't know. It could or Candy could just be a fucking bitch in this. You know what I mean? And like
yeah,
not being good friend. I don't know what it is. And I feel like Candy gets to keep her cards close to her chest. And we probably won't find out what it is.
yeah. I think so.
Yeah.
I have no real defensive Candy here. I think I agree with you. I don't think we should be using this man's murder as a storyline. But if this is Marlo being real about feelings that she's feeling and something brought this up in her, and now she, it's an eerily kind of similar situation, not necessarily, but it's like two guys, two adult men that met at one of Candy's restaurants that ended up in a shooting.
Mhm.
Is it directly, like exactly, tit for tat of like what happened? Tit for tat's not the right phrase, but you know what I mean. Um, with her nephew, no, but there are enough similarities where I can understand where like that can bring something up in you. And then to have Drew diminish the word shooting and say that like calling out gun violence and putting a spotlight on gun violence perpetuates and gives it a spotlight, so you shouldn't say the word, is the most asinine, dumbass fucking thing I've ever heard in my life. Like, there's no way that you should, at least in my opinion, there's no way that anybody should be diminishing gun violence as and not saying the word shooting, because then that normalizes it and it doesn't tell people what the problem is. And it's the guns. The guns are the problem.
Mhm.
Like, that's what we need to be
Yeah.
pointing the light on, is that gun violence is a gigantic problem in the United States. So you saying like there was an incident, there wasn't a fucking incident. An incident is like you hit a fire hydrant on the side of the road with your car, or like someone who had a hit and run, or like maybe someone punched someone. But a shooting at your restaurant that you own is not an incident. It's a fucking shooting at a restaurant that you own. That's what it is. So I agree with Marlo. Like, what are we doing here? And then everybody else in their confessionals are like, I never heard that. That people from Chicago don't say that word. You're in Chicago. Do people say the word shooting?
Um, yes, but like I don't hear it a lot in terms of I don't know, it's hard cuz like not many people experience someone who has been
Right.
shot. Like I think of the situation I'm very closely tied to
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they never use the word shooting.
Yeah.
Um so
And that to me is understandable.
yeah. Um uh No, I think there's only like I don't again, it's not like in defense, it's just things I'm thinking of that have happened this season. So we have like Shrey making comments like, you don't know if you're gonna get biscuits or bullets, and you've got Marlo
Yeah, that was
tying
gross.
Candy to into this situation because like okay this is the second shooting that's happened with her restaurants, but then in addition when you have that conversation of like Candy went somewhere the night before and put it on her Instagram, and then um she the next day like all this certain type of people show up, like
Yeah.
it feels like there's an attempt to like frame Candy in a certain light right now, that she is
Yeah.
tied to things that are not seen positively amongst many members of society. And um so I'm wondering like kind of in a way where Candace was like, no, you're not going to make me the storyline.
Yeah.
Is Candy picking up on this? Is it are we trying to make like the people who surround Candy or people who like are attached to Candy in a way, a certain type of person
Mhm.
is like it this is really like the third instance of it already this season where
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like so just noting that. I don't know how much it means, but
Well, I think there's a clear agenda coming into this season to paint Candy in a light that's not favorable. Whether it has to do with that or this girl saying like, "Oh, you said you didn't know me," but whatever or whatever that whole
mhm,
stupid thing is.
yeah.
Um and I think Candy picked up on it immediately because in the first episode she was not having it with this new girl. So it's like I think she realizes, but I do think and like I said like if these are real genuine feelings from Marlo, which I'm not questioning her grief or her which I also thought was disgusting that Candy and Kenya were doing that outside. Saying like, oh, she texted me 5 days later and was talking about Cameo, like, oh yeah, she really cared about her nephew. It's like, fuck you. People grieve
Mhm,
differently. It was 5 days
mhm,
later. You don't know if she needs to like get out of her head about it or focus on something else to keep it moving. Like, don't do that kind of shit. I do not like that.
mhm,
Um, but if I'm Candy, I don't I mean, I don't know, but I don't think I would want to have that reaction that she had because then it just makes her feel, it just makes her come off as if she doesn't care. And like
mhm,
that's proving Marlo's point is that she didn't care
yeah,
because the way that she reacted was just like, oh, so you're trying to tie this on me and whatever. She should just be like, you're right, Marlo, I should have been there for you more and I'm sorry and I'll do better as a friend. It's done from there. It's done. What else can Marlo say? You're right, I should have sent you flowers. I was selfish or I didn't or whatever. I should have been more around for you. He did work for me. He was my coworker. He was in pictures with me, whatever. Like just take an L on it, whether
mhm,
you think you need to take an L or not, and then
yeah,
it's over. But like the way that she reacted, now it's just like, wow, Candy really didn't care. And then Drew calling Marlo aggressive when the producers pointed to Marlo having her hands on her behind her back,
mhm,
and even Marlo being conscious enough to know that in those
yeah,
situations, whenever anybody says anything to me, I put my hands here. That made me really sad for her because
yeah,
it's like, damn, she did one thing 20 something years ago. She cannot live it down. That's literally all they talk about when it comes up
mhm,
with her. And like, she even knows, like, if someone's yelling at her, she has to very strategically be very aware of herself in that situation more than anybody else and put her hands behind her back so no one can point the finger at her and say she was about to get physical. That
Mhm.
sucks.
No, yeah, it definitely does.
Drew can go.
I've been saying that since her first fucking
Yeah,
season.
she's awful. She's awful. Candy, I'm sorry. I'm not into Candy this season. There's something like, to me, it feels like exactly what you said of everybody trying to make Candy a storyline in a negative way, which I don't agree with. And her trying to keep making her storyline about Todd and, oh, his
Mhm.
scripts. 1 year it's a play, 1 year it's sex toys, 1 year it's this, 1 year it's just like, okay, how many fucking businesses? How many fucking businesses are you gonna have? How many plays are you gonna write? How many shows are you gonna write? How many movies is Todd gonna make? Like, no one cares about this or Todd. Ugh, Todd can go the way of Drew for me. I can't.
Yeah, and I mean, I mentioned it already, but like, does Candy need to go? You know, like, because the other thing is her actions. We haven't really gotten to see a lot of. I think Candy's at her best when she's with people that she's actually friends with, which is in this case, like basically just Kenya.
Kenya,
She's
yeah,
and Candy didn't go like on Kenya's trip. Like, there has been a lot of interaction between the two of them. So, and not in like a negative way, it's just not happening for whatever reason. And that, I don't know, like if Candy rode off into the sunset and was like, time for me to go and really invest my time in Todd and have one less obligation here that like can help free up things, then I would understand it.
yeah,
I think she's in that same group of like, you've been around a long time, but I don't know, sometimes like having the OGs isn't necessarily the greatest thing, because I know like part of being a housewife is like forgiving and forgetting and all this, but some of these women they clearly can't. They've been around so long. Marlo isn't able to escape her past. Like Sheree's clothing line is still around from like season fucking 1.
yep,
It's it while they are able to be in the same place, it's just not as fun. And I actually think that it was Jen Aiden who maybe brought it up at the end of the New Jersey reunion, who was like, we're supposed to be friends. This is supposed to be a show about people being friends, and it's more fun when we're friends. And it's like, can you send that in an email to like
right.
the
The
Housewives
casting,
cast,
uh,
like just in general, like at all Housewives?
right.
So,
Last season, the very brief moment we talked about it on the podcast, when Kenya and Marlo were friends and Marlo was supporting her with everything that was going on with Mark, I loved that. That was like some of my favorite stuff that we got last season.
mhm.
This season, it just feels sad. The topics that we're talking about while they're real life are much more I don't know. They're just not like the usual housewives petty nonsense topics. Like, this is real life stuff.
Yeah,
And again, I'm
murder's
not
not
saying that,
petty.
no, and I'm not saying we shouldn't talk about it,
Mhm.
but I just don't feel like it's respectful the way that it's being spoken about. I don't feel like the way Candy reacted was respectful at all to Marlo and her family. I just I just think it's sad. Like, I was really feeling for Marlo in that moment. Like, she's trying. I think Drew added a lot of like mess to the situation, but I just feel, I don't know, I feel for her, and I just felt like it painted Candy in a really bad light. Not because she was
Mhm.
like yelling or whatever, but just like the content of what she was saying, I thought was like kind of gross.
Yeah. No, she came into it
Yeah,
at like a 9.
and
So,
like, if you're done, then be done and bow
mhm.
out.
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess we'll see. I mean, the episode itself was more put together and felt like we were telling a story more than the other episodes of this season, but I just don't like the story that was being told because it was not, it's a bummer. And I feel for Marlo. I mean, I'm glad she's finally talking about like, this was 20 something years ago, and this, like, I can't have a conversation without these women throwing it in my face. And it's
Mhm.
true. It's bullshit. Even Kenya
Yeah.
outside. That's why, like, the producers and the editors of Real Housewives of Atlanta are top tier because they wrote like 5 minutes ago, 3 minutes
Yeah.
ago. And I don't know. I just feel bad for Marlo. She's been through a lot in her life, very clearly. She's made some mistakes. She's not perfect. Let's like give people some grace a little bit.
Mhm.
People fuck up, especially
Mhm.
2 decades ago. Like, drop it.
Right.
And
Yeah.
Candy's brother died in a car crash.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Like,
Um, yeah, this cast isn't Friends.
no, no. What I will say is I loved Grandma Sheree and Cairo.
I don't even remember Grandma Shay being there, but yeah, Cairo is a dad now.
Yeah, she was just cute with the baby, and Cairo was cute with the baby. It's good for them. And
Yeah.
I liked that Sheree stood by Marlo and was supporting her. And even Sonia, who I don't really like very much, I felt like she was like good in this moment. And I feel like they were all on the right side of like, they're calling you aggressive. Like,
Mhm.
this is
I feel
inappropriate.
like Sonya plays both sides.
She does play both sides for sure. For sure.
And I
I
don't
also do
care
not care
that
about her
her family
family,
is moving out. Yeah.
nor do I. I could not care less about her family.
And okay, I don't know. I come from a family where like my grandparents grew up in Scotland. My mom moved here very young, so she doesn't have an accent. And there's sometimes where like there was a word or something that would like she would say in the Scottish accent, but never like full on sentences. And so it's just like strange to me when Sonya goes from like having a heavy accent and then like none.
Mm.
And I can't get past it. And to me,
I
I don't
wonder
know.
if it's just because it like comes out when she's around her family.
That could be it. It could be. I don't like and sometimes it just feels forced. I have to say it. I just
Oh,
sometimes it feels forced. I can't get past the switching in between them. I don't know, like if I started talking in a Scottish accent because like that's what I grew up with
yeah.
and then 4 sentences later I'm speaking like this, wouldn't you be like the fuck?
I definitely would be like, the fuck? I have to say, I haven't really noticed it that much with Sonia.
Oh my god,
But,
it's been happening.
but
I've been keeping my mouth shut
wait,
for
let me
like
caveat
since
because I don't
last
pay attention to
season.
her scenes with her family because I don't care. So it's like I'm like not actively listening.
But even when they were in Jamaica last year.
Oh yeah, okay, I did notice it in Jamaica last year. But I don't know, like you ever been around people with like different accents and then sometimes you like pick it up or pick up phrases or like certain ways to say things when you're like surrounded by it.
I don't know. I grew up with like when I say my grandparents were I was with my grandparents easily like 4 to 7 days a week and they had the heavy Scottish accent
Mm.
and I'm not out here sounding like a fat
Well, was Sonia
bastard
born
from
in
Austin
Jamaica?
Powers. I think so and then moved
Oh,
here.
so it's a little different, right?
Maybe did she move here? She ran for the USA, but I don't know if it's cuz she got her citizenship or not.
Yeah, I don't know her. I don't know her story.
Where
Well, she definitely has a Wikipedia page because she's an Olympian, but I don't know her
yeah.
last name.
Yeah, Sonya. We've
I don't
looked
know.
up this happened last time too because it came up as
We didn't
Sonya
remember his.
Morgan.
Oh, right, 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 right.
Oh, Real Housewives.
She
Let
was
me
born in
put Atlanta.
Jamaica.
Yeah, and then came here. I don't
Oh,
know,
she
she, like,
came
goes
here when she was 12. That's old.
that's yeah, I and given, like, she can have the accent, but then it's, like, she just switches between it. I just wish she, like, had the accent all the time or none of
Or
the
none of the
time.
time. I feel like
I
she
can't
probably
get
just
past
like
it.
acclimates to whoever she's with.
And, well,
She probably
that
doesn't
makes
even realize
sense,
she's doing it.
which, like, with, like, how she plays both sides, like, it actually kinda tracks for her personality in that I've been holding this in for so long. I just when she's talking about, like, the patties in the kitchen, but then she's able to go up to Candy and, like, not talk in the accent. I don't know.
Mm.
Sorry, Nitro.
Maybe it has
It
to do with her level of comfortability too. Like
maybe.
my partner's parents, his family came from Cyprus. And we were
Mhm.
actually just talking about this the other day. And like they spoke Greek. His dad was born in Romania, came here when he was, I don't know, left. Romania when he was 4. I don't know when he actually came to the United States, but um, they don't have accents, but they can speak the language, and their parents immigrated here, but they were very
Mhm.
conscious to kind of like Americanize and like have
Yeah.
everybody fit in. So they like didn't teach Greek at home. They didn't, do all that because they wanted everybody to be like Americanized. So I wouldn't be surprised if that's what
Mhm.
Sonya's doing. Plus, like, there's the cultural, like, she's also, they're white people. She's not. So I
Mhm.
think there's an added layer of it, like, to try and, like, Americanize yourself. I'm sure. I'm not speaking from experience, but like being around your family, she probably like lets that out and she, goes back to her culture, I would assume.
Maybe. I don't know. I can't, like, I try to rationalize it in my head as I'm watching and listening, and it just I I can't do it. I had to
And
say it out
that's
loud.
fine.
I've been thinking it for at least 2 seasons, at least since Jamaica last year, maybe earlier, but probably since Jamaica because that's when it really, like, went in. I was like, "Damn, she got to this island, and now she is, like, speaking entirely different than she has the first half of this season."
Hmm. Well, I can't say anything because all I do is make fun of Brittany's Kentucky accent. So, like, not on this podcast, but like in my life. So, like, I guess I can't really say anything about you talking about her accent. Although I think
I'm
Sonya's
not even,
accent is a
like,
little bit
m
different.
making fun of it. I
No, I know.
just
It's
am
just the switching.
confused by the yes.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Um, Anything else about Atlanta this week?
No. I'll watch again next week.
Well, luckily, there's a show that we won't have to watch again next week, and that's Real Housewives of New Jersey. We get a break, hopefully a long break. And for me to say that,
Mhm.
you know that it can't be positive, the situation that we're in right now. I have to say, I'm saying this publicly, I'm on Teresa's side in all things. I am not, I'm on Team Nobody. Me saying I'm not
Same.
on Teresa's side does not mean I am on Melissa's side. But Louis brings Teresa to a place where you can't root for her because she's loyal to this man who is a monster person, garbage human. And
Mhm.
like, he's a psychopath. So, like, as long as she's tied to Louis, I just don't feel like you can really root for her until like she starts to see through, which she won't, what kind of a guy he is.
Yeah. I have never felt like I just, like, have no one to root for on that show, but
Yep.
especially when their main conflict is Melissa versus Teresa, and I think that they expect you to pick a side, and I think
Yeah.
a lot of us are just tired. Like,
Mm-hmm.
no
Well, it
no
seems like that's
one
the consensus on the internet is that like everybody
yeah.
is like, I don't care who goes, I care who goes. But like one of them has to because we cannot continue this. We are all
Mhm.
exhausted by this. This was a waste of 3 episodes of a reunion. Did you watch the uncensored Peacock one?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
didn't. What was it better? Where I mean, I guess you
Well,
didn't
I
watch the
don't
other one, but like
know
how
yeah,
was
that's
it?
the thing is when so, let me backtrack to OC for a second.
Okay.
OC has on Peacock, it's, like, never seen,
Yeah.
so they integrate, like, a little 30-second clip in that they cut out, but, like,
Yeah.
it's not, like,
They
at the
air those on
end.
Bravo as well.
Yeah, so that's the only one I've been watching, so, like, I don't
Hmm.
see it in the same way of, like, the Vanderpump reunions and this one. I don't know what the original was to know, like, what was added. This is my original, I
Yeah.
guess. So, I don't know. Did you guys see in the regular one where, um, Louis went up to I can't why can't I remember her name? The one who's adopting the son.
Rachel.
Rachel. Okay. When, like, Louis went up to Rachel and was like, "I think you're a great mother," and
Yeah.
then her husband was like, basically, "Shut the fuck up. Why did"
Yeah.
do you believe that Louis had people dig up the biological mom? Where do you stand in that one?
Last week I didn't believe it because like why? Who cares about these people?
Right.
This week I don't know. I don't know that this guy John Fuda would be so angry at Louis if it wasn't true, but I would have liked for them to tell me what his proof was so I could make my own judgment. But he's like,
Yeah.
I have proof. I have proof. And it's like, okay, what's the fucking proof? So I can know for sure. Did they
Well,
show any proof on, because they didn't on Bravo?
all they said was, like, in order to be able to contact someone in jail, you have to go through certain, I don't
Well,
know, like,
she's in jail.
processes. That's what it made it seem. So, like, that's how he's confident that he knows that Louis did it because, like,
Oh,
because of that.
I mean, well, if that's the proof, then that's the proof. Then he did it. I mean, I don't know. I just don't know what the point of it is.
Yeah, same.
And I think Louis is a scary person because I can't tell when he's lying. And like, he's like Raquel to me. Like, you can't tell when she's lying.
Mhm.
And she's a very convincing liar and can hold up like a completely separate life. And I feel like Louis, everything he says is shady, but then he's like kind of convincing. Even Margaret's like, here's the phone records. And he's like, yeah, that's my phone number. I didn't do that. And I'm just like,
Mhm.
I kind of believe him, but like, how else does this happen? I just don't get it. Like, it just is weird. I don't know. The whole thing is strange.
Yeah, I don't think I believe a word. Well, it's hard to say that. Like, I don't believe a word that Louis says because then it's like, well, does that mean I believe that Bo Deedle is involved or isn't involved? Because he said both things. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
The
didn't I
fact
thought
that,
Bo Deedle said he wasn't involved?
I mean, I wouldn't want to be associated with the shit show, whether or not I was involved. I don't know. It's all confusing. And like, that's to the point where we can't even like sort what is true and what isn't. And like, the best reunions are the ones when people come with validation of something and we are able to like leave with this
Yeah.
sense of knowing and
There's no resolution.
none, and it's just made it worse. Like you have Frank sitting across from Dolores and him being like, "Can I break like not patient,
Also,
whatever,
why is Frank
confidentiality?"
there? You are not married to this woman, and her boyfriend is sitting right behind her. So get
Yeah.
the fuck out of here. You shouldn't even be on the show. What are we doing? Get out of here.
Frank, and then you have like him going up and being like, "Give me your word." Like how fucking Italian of you. Like, "Let's shake on it. We're a good
Frank is such a
man." Like
loser.
um
The problem is everyone on this show has skeletons in their closet. Every single one.
yeah.
Margaret has lawsuits. Joe Gorga has lawsuits. Some guy was just commenting on his Instagram like 2 days ago that was like, "When are you going to pay me my $100,000 or something?" I don't know what exactly the
Mhm.
quote was, but like some unpaid bill. There's stories all over the place about how Joe is shady. There's all these open questions about why they had to move so many times. There's allegations about things that he did to his dad and whatever, lost his house. Like, that stuff never comes up on the show, but Teresa's dirty laundry always comes up on the show. So it's like every single person here has laundry like that. So like, why are we all acting? Frank got disbarred. Like, why are
Mhm.
we acting like everybody on this show? The Manzos literally put a hit out on their sister who was on the show. It's like, what is happening? What is happening
Mhm.
here? It's just, I don't know. These people like act like they're on their moral high ground, and I'm like, you guys are all trash, every one of you. Every person on this stage is trash.
Mhm. Yeah, if there's one person that I actually, like, felt bad for was, is it Jen? Blonde Jen? Is that her name? No? Am I making that up? The blonde one
Danielle.
that Danielle, where the fuck there's Jen Fessler and then Jen Aiden. Where the fuck
Yeah.
did I get blonde Jen from? Why can't I watched
She's a blonde Jen's in the OC.
every single episode of this
Mhm.
season, and I don't know their names. I am a moron. Um,
I feel bad for Danielle too, and it feels like she
yeah,
got set up in this rumor situation.
I think she, like she went through, like, the freshman hazing, if you will, like, it's
Yep.
like the three-way phone call on Mean Girls, and she got played.
Yeah.
That's incredibly unfortunate for her, and I think that, like, people used her whole thing with her brother as, like, a way to deflect from other situations, and
Yeah.
so, I don't know, it did seem like outside of Teresa and Melissa, that there's people who are willing to like let bygones be bygones. And I mean, it also could be just for another paycheck next season, but I don't know what they're going to do with this show. It's this and Atlanta need to be shaken up.
I want to know what happened on the Real Housewives of New York. We might have talked about this, where they had one bad season and they went off the air for years. They had a whole cast shakeup. Everybody got fired. The show never came back. They didn't even have a reunion. When we've had the same season of the Real Housewives of New Jersey happening over and over and over again, OC has been horrible for the past 5 years. Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, I'm sorry. Yeah, we have Sutton, we have Garcelle now, which is great, but like Kyle sucks. Rinna finally is gone, but like the OGs there are not great either. I mean, I guess the only one is Kyle, but like Dorit is a nothing burger. Like, what is the state of Housewives right now? Is Potomac the only good series of Housewives?
Miami.
Potomac and Miami are the only two.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We need a revamp of some sort in like every city.
Well, they're going to try the revamp in New York, so we'll see how that goes.
I'm like excited for something new, but I'm not excited that it's not Sonia and Luann. I'm excited for Crappy Lake. I'm excited. Are you going to watch Crappy Lake?
I will, out of obligation.
I can't wait.
I don't have much of a tolerance for Luann. Like, I'm not as good as you are at like looking past their like them as a person to appreciate.
We like different things in our housewives.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Like I don't know. The fact that Luann like does blackface and has been in the show for like years after, and just other things she's said and done versus, I mean, that's kind of like why New York shut down was, I mean, you had like Ramona saying fucked up shit and like it's Ebony who is like, yeah, there was plenty of racist things happening.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, Luann was like racist to Ebony's face.
Yeah. So, as long they won't dismantle your entire cast as long as you are not racist. That's really where that's where they drew the line for 2 years on Jackson and Kristen.
That's true too.
So,
New Jersey, I don't want to get too deep into that, but I was just gonna
needs to be shaken up. There needs to as much. I know that you're not gonna like this, but like get rid of Teresa and Melissa and Margaret and I don't know.
No,
like
that would be my solution. Honestly, I mean, I don't want Teresa to go, but if it is going to be Teresa or Melissa, get rid of them both because Melissa can't carry a show. Her whole life is revolving around Teresa. That's the only reason why she came on the show. That's the only genuine storyline she's ever had. I cannot stand Joe Gorga. I hate Joe Gorga more than I hate Melissa. I just like the two of them make my stomach turn, and so does Margaret. I feel the same way about Margaret that I feel about Joe and Teresa. I mean, Joe and Melissa. So like, if that means Teresa has to go too, like I would take the loss. But the only thing is, I feel like the only way that Teresa gets out of this scary relationship with Louis is if it plays out on television. So we need to protect her at all costs, in my opinion. Although, whatever. This is what she wants. Have at it.
Protect
She's gonna go back to jail
at all costs. I hated. Did they show that phone call with Gia on the regular episode?
Yeah, they did.
And how
they did.
If there's anybody on that fucking stage, I believe it's Gia. Like,
well, honestly, here's my thing too, and it just shows Melissa's hypocrisy. Is like she's like, you be that aunt. I'm not going to be that aunt. But it's like, okay, well, you guys are okay with talking shit about Gia on the show. You're okay with blocking her and Melania on Instagram. You're okay with like, just even in the past, they've said things like, I think I saw on Reddit, I don't know if it was Reddit or Twitter, where somebody was like, oh, she moved away because she didn't want her kids going to school with her kids. Like, it's just like Melissa has been doing this forever. And all Teresa did was say like, well, they were close, but then Antonia didn't come to Melania's Sweet 16, which she shouldn't have said. But it's just like, everybody is a hypocrite. Yeah. No one has the high ground here.
And then, okay, maybe I'm coming at this from a very personal angle because I have an estranged sibling in my life. But in all honesty, I would rather cut someone than have to continue to deal with that. Like,
me too.
Okay, you told me her name. Danielle, like maybe you don't need to go and see your brother.
No,
Maybe
you probably don't.
maybe your grass is currently greener on the side that you're
Probably.
on. Because based off of what I'm seeing, Teresa yelling at Joe in Italian and using their dead parents as like pawns in their both of their
It's
games of
sad.
manipulation, it's it's uncomfortable and I'm tired of this is no. And we don't need it. We don't need it. Go to
It's
fucking
sad.
therapy.
I will say about their parents, it was very obvious that Teresa was extremely involved with her parents and like really loved them and cared for them, and that Joe was like not as much, which like who knows why that is or whatever. But I do think she probably resents him a lot for that too.
Mhm. Or he
Whatever.
even, like, resents her for the fact that, like, she was closer because, I mean, didn't that was,
I
like,
feel like
half
that
the
was on him.
reason that oh, I'm not he won't ever say that, though.
No,
Like,
he would never.
he blames Joe
Joe
Giudice
Judice.
for that.
The
"You're the
biggest breath of
reason my
fresh air
father blah,
of
blah,
this whole
blah."
reunion was when Joe Judice called in the first episode.
Mhm. Well,
Never in
that
my
and
life did I think I would say I miss Joe Judice, but I genuinely miss Joe Judice.
when, Jen at the end was like, "It's better when we're friends." Like, "No fucking shit, Jen. Could you figure that out 12 episodes ago? That would've been solid."
Yeah, this was just like unrelenting toxicity this whole time. There was no redeemable moment of this whole reunion other
Mhm.
than those two that we just talked about. And that was like 12 seconds long, each
Mhm.
one of them.
Yeah.
I don't know where we go from here. I hope they take a long pause. I saw a rumor today that they're going to bring everybody back, which I feel like would be the
Fuck
biggest
that.
mistake. But I feel like Andy has been very clear, like, not both of them can't come back from this. So,
Teresa
like,
already fired Melissa.
yeah, the job's done already, okay? It's done. Well,
You don't need that.
no. I'm glad it's over. I'm not
Is
excited for it to come back.
mhm.
What are we going to do? I don't know. I guess we'll find
It
out. Everything is in such a weird state right now, especially like, what we were just saying as we talk about it. It's kind of like Housewives in general is like in a weird, it's just in a weird state. They've been on for
mhm.
so long and they're just reaching this weird inflection point where it's like, what are they going to do? I don't know.
It's almost like do you need to institute terms for your
Right. Should
housewives?
there be term limits for housewives?
Yeah, because I mean
Maybe.
that's part of the reason I think that we're enjoying Miami right now. Given
Yeah.
like Miami is I just think is like a different breed because you can tell there's such sincere friendships within um that friend group, but um they haven't grown to hate each other enough yet. They haven't been around long enough and having that massive gap. Plus they all have like a common enemy in Lenny, which helps, but
Right. That does
anyway,
help.
um and then Potomac, I mean, but even still like with Potomac, we are seeing some of the like okay, this is becoming like slightly predictable. Ashley
Yeah.
and
People
Candace,
are
like
hiding
Ashley
things.
or yeah, like there might need to be term limits. We might need to institute that to keep it fresh.
Yeah. Well, it also I think is it's hard when these housewives get famous
Mhm.
because they're no longer authentic people once they're famous. Like they're showing this life, but they're acting like they're not breaking the fourth wall. They're acting like they're not a housewife, right? So it's like we know you guys are housewives. We know you're famous. We know you guys are doing appearances and doing all this housewifey things. Like show us that at least because then that
Mhm.
would be your real life. But they're putting on these like storylines for the season that's like that's not their real life.
Yeah.
And you know how I feel about them not actually being friends. So it's like maybe once they get to a certain level of fame, then it's time to revisit. Maybe it is a term limit of like 3 seasons, then you get put on pause. And then, like, if it is good, then it comes back. And maybe that keeps people more grounded. Cause right now it feels like no one has their fucking feet on the ground in the
Mhm.
Housewives universe. Even Alexia, Marisol, and Larsa don't feel like they have their feet on the ground in
Larsa's never
Miami.
had her feet on
No,
the
that's
ground.
the truth. That's true. Um, but yeah, I don't know. She can't put her feet on the ground. How is she going to sell pictures with her feet on the ground?
That was
Just
good.
to keep those feet pristine, you know what I mean? They pay the bills.
I am, uh so when I trying to, like, keep up on shows to be able to podcast about it, I am now also trying to catch up on Selling Sunset.
Okay.
on Netflix, and Larsa makes an appearance.
Oh, why?
Yeah. Um, it was before her and Scotty broke up, and it's when she
Okay.
was, like, still, in the Kardashian crew,
Mm.
and she was trying to buy a house out there. And so
Oh,
she saw a house, I think with Chrishell,
okay.
and, the issue was the primary closet wasn't big enough, and there wasn't enough driveway or garage space for her 12 cars, so she declined in
Hmm.
making an offer on the house. She liked everything else about it, but yeah, I was like, "Whoa, this is a crossover I wasn't expecting."
Wow. Speaking of
Given it
cooking
was from,
girls.
like, a couple seasons ago. I think it
Yeah.
was, like, season 2 maybe, so
Wow. How
but
about that?
yeah, had some housewives in my I had some Vanderpump Rules in my summer house. I
Oh
had some
yeah, you had a big
housewives
crossover week.
in my Selling Sunset. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh,
Hmm.
is Summer House done, like, this current season? They had the
Yeah.
last reunion? We
Yeah.
talked about it last week. There wasn't another one this week?
Yes, we talked about it last week. Yeah, it's done.
Okay,
It
I
feels
just didn't
like
know
we're
if
in a
that was the
weird,
last
like,
one.
everything is done period too. Like, I
Mhm.
mean, I know you have Martha's Vineyard, you have Below Deck. I haven't caught up on those yet.
I don't know what you're waiting
I
for.
will. I know. I don't know it's this Vanderpump rewatch is taking all my free time, which is so stupid. But I'm out now. I'm like reaching a point where it's not enjoyable anymore. So I'm gonna switch to something else.
You're close to being
Um,
caught up anyway, so
I know it's true. I'm not gonna rewatch this most current season. I don't even think I'm gonna
yeah.
watch the last season. I don't think I'm gonna watch anymore actually, because that other season is with the randos that come on and they're horrible. So like, and who also got fired for being racist. So like,
Mhm.
maybe I'm just done.
Yeah, see, the only, like, thing in watching season 9, having known everything with Scandoval for Vanderpump is just and I texted you this, I think, like, how much of a difference there was in everyone's lives. Because in season 9, like, all the couples are still together
Yeah,
until
I
the
know it's
reunion
crazy.
when James and Raquel break up, but, like, Ariana and Tom are still together, Katie and Tom are still together, Lala and Randall are still together, like,
Yep.
and, Sheena and Brock, obviously, but, like, the next season is just such a different environment, and it's, like, weird seeing that stark difference from, like, binging season 9 and
Yeah.
then binging season 10. It's like, "Whoa, overnight, you guys all went through some shit, huh?" I mean, overnight for me, not for you
Yeah.
guys, but
I think not to get back into Vanderpump, but I think it's unfortunate that we didn't spend any time on the reunion on Tom and Katie's divorce. They were together
yeah.
the longest out of anybody on the show. Their relationship really played out across the show. We saw their wedding, we saw everything, and it was just an afterthought because of this Scandoval thing. So it's kind of a bummer for that. Like I would have liked to, and that all happened off camera. So like I would have liked to hear Katie get to finally speak about her relationship with Tom without trying to protect him anymore.
Yeah.
So I'm glad we got a little bit of it in the confessional last night. And just kind of like seeing how it played out. But I feel
Mhm.
for Katie, and I'm glad she's thriving right now. She looks the best she's ever looked. She seems like she's living her best life. She looks amazing. She's seems like something about her looks awesome. I don't know if you saw
Yeah.
that tour that she gave on Instagram. It looks great. So I'm rooting for Katie.
Yep, same. I
Um, all right. Anything else with Housewives we covered, Vanderpump we
Nope.
covered. How are you still all into Below Deck and Martha's Vineyard Summer House?
Yeah, we're at, like, peak drama right now
Okay,
for
I gotta quit this
Below
Vanderpump and
Deck.
go back.
Because as I told you, you have your 3 main characters, right?
Wait, don't tell me anything about the love triangle because I want to watch it and be
Yeah,
like
well, that's what I'm
shocked.
saying is, like so let's put it this way. I won't tell you details because you already know that there is a love
Yeah.
triangle. So, like, action has happened within
Okay.
said love triangle, but now, like, realizations and, like,
Mm.
feelings are being discussed
Yeah,
openly
I
within
want to know
said love
more.
triangle. So that is, like, this week's episode. Well, also, as a heads up, they're doing 2 episodes a week, I think, like, now till the end of the season. So this past Monday, there was 2 episodes.
I saw that because I use YouTube TV and I was looking to see what was on Bravo on Monday because Summer House
Mhm.
was over. And I didn't know something new was starting. And I saw like 2 Below Deck episodes and I was like, oh, that's a lot of Below Deck.
Yeah, because I was watching and I'm like, "Oh, okay, done with Below Deck," and then it, like, as I was bitching about earlier, usually goes into something completely different, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "Wait a second, they're recapping the episode I just watched. What the hell? And I remembered seeing on Reddit that like I think they're doing 2 a week for the rest of the season, because I think that like when that ends, they're going to do I think Down Under is going to be on Bravo
Mhm.
this season.
Oh, because that was Peacock only.
Yeah, I
Okay.
think. Don't quote me on that. I think I saw that somewhere.
Okay.
So yeah, there's like last week was the actions of the love triangle.
Okay.
This week is the like human component to it.
Yeah.
And so there's there's some hurt feelings, there's some realizations, there's some
Mm.
confessions, there's a lot. So
Hmm.
worth getting into.
All right.
And also on the I don't think this is like telling you anything that will spoil anything for you, but it's interesting to see like the downfall of Gary online. It feels like
Oh.
finally a lot of people are seeing past Gary has this charm amongst
Mm.
basically any
He has the Schwartz charm.
uh
No?
no.
Okay.
Gary has more game in than Schwartz does, where Schwartz is
Okay.
just like I'm drunk and dumb and make out with me, where like Gary is
Mhm.
very intentional. And like last season, Gary made out with every single stew on the
Oh.
boat.
Well,
And it
Tom
wasn't
Schwartz would
just
do the
like
same.
casual. Like there is a lot. And so it feels like it's taken until this season where he's like now in a different role in a bit, but he's not in a different role in some ways. I don't know.
Yeah.
So like he's lost some of his charm on the internet. So uh there's some people who are finding their popularity decreasing by the second with
Mhm.
Below Deck. But yeah, it's we're at peak drama right now.
Doesn't take much for the tides to turn.
Is that a pun because we're talking about Below Deck?
No, it's not intentionally, but uh, credit to my brain, I guess, for accidentally slipping that in.
So the other show that I'm watching, Martha's Vineyard, which I am
Mhm.
loving because I still my enemies aren't changing.
Oh, good.
Um
You
Silas
don't
is
want you.
still
You need a good villain.
yeah. Silas is still my number one enemy. But I'm going to ask you a question
Okay.
that relates to this week's episode. So, um, let's say you are less than a year into your relationship
Okay.
and it's you've come back to the house after a drunk night out or like a night out, people are drinking. You get in the hot tub and or you might not even be in the hot tub, but your partner is in the hot tub.
Okay.
And your best friend um is like or says to your partner like, "Do you care if I get naked?" Um and then proceeds to get naked. On a
Okay.
scale of
I'm
1 to
there.
10, you're at the house, you may not be in the hot tub, but you are definitely there, and then you see your best friend get naked. She isn't, like, on top of your partner, she doesn't touch your partner, she isn't inappropriate with your partner in
But
any
it's just the
way,
two of them in the
but
hot tub.
no, 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 there's multiple people outside, like,
Oh, okay.
there's
Okay.
let's say there's, like, 4 people in the hot tub, maybe a couple people outside the hot tub, maybe there's even someone in the pool, like, the whole house is out and about, but your best friend goes, "Do you care if I get naked?" to your partner, and,
What does my partner say?
I think he said something along the lines of, like, "You'd have to ask if it's Katie if it's okay."
Okay. Okay.
And then your best friend proceeds to still get naked, and
Not a
then, like,
great
jumps in the
response.
pool, and, um, it's just, like, being drunk and naked.
Okay.
What is your response to this? Now, mind you, you are, like, let's say, like, 7-ish. This is
Over there in the chat said this is the wildest glances story I've ever heard. Poor glances. Catching the strays. What's my reaction?
Yeah, how do you react to this? This is your best friend of, like, easily 10 years.
Okay, so this is a little bit. triggering for me because I had a friend who was similar to this.
Mhm.
I don't know anything else about this person, but I did have a friend, no longer my friend, who actually told my partner, we were in a bar once. I was off talking to someone else, and we weren't officially together yet, but she told him that she would make out with him. So like
Oh.
this is like a person that I feel like I know.
Mhm.
And I would drop this bitch. Both maybe physically, but also like out of my life. Because I have experience with a person like this.
Okay, well, according to our BuzzFeed quiz, you are Bria in the
Okay,
Martha's Vineyards
okay,
house.
okay.
Um,
Is this the person with the partner?
yeah, so
Okay.
Bria is the woman and her German partner. They haven't been together long, and Shanice is her best friend, and Shanice got drunk and naked and wild. But like in Shanice's defense, she wasn't inappropriate beyond being naked. Like she wasn't like ass in his face or anything, or like putting her tits in his face.
Yeah, but
Um,
if you're asking the question, you shouldn't be fucking doing it. So don't do
oh
it.
yeah,
So just don't do it.
yeah, and that's a very valid point. So, um,
But I'm in my Vanderpump watch, and Lala does get naked, and all the girls were mad at Lala, and I wasn't mad at Lala in that moment.
mhm.
So maybe I don't know. I think I'd have to see it.
Yeah, I think it's like, I mean, alcohol was involved, so I think emotions are heightened no matter what. But um,
Yeah.
that was
If I'm
kind
not
of,
outside and this is happening, there's a problem. If I'm outside and it's happening, I would play it by ear and see what the situation is.
yeah, I can't remember where she was specifically as it like went down, but everyone was like up and about. They weren't
Okay.
it wasn't like she was like trying the best friend wasn't trying to like hide it or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Uh and it seems like this is kind of on par for things that she
Mm,
does.
okay.
So, I don't know. I feel like if I were to freak out, Lavelle would just be like, "I've seen boobs before. It's fine." You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's
Like,
different.
so I don't know how I would react. I probably wouldn't escalate as much as it was escalated, but
Mm. I don't know
I
that I
don't
would
think I would be
escalate.
happy either. I don't. There would definitely be a conversation. So yeah, that's kind of like the big event of this week's episode,
Mm. Okay.
and Um, still definitely worth watching. I am enjoying if I were to compare like season 1 of Summer House the OG to summer season 1 of Martha's Vineyard, I like it better, but
Okay.
I like Martha's Vineyard better, but the reason I think I like it better is because like they've just rented a house for 2 weeks. So like there's
Oh,
no
so it's not the whole summer.
escaping.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
know what I mean?
okay.
Where
So they're not going
like
back. Well,
yeah,
that's why I like the COVID season of Summer House because they are all stuck in the house. And
yeah.
that's what I like in a show. Put people in a house, put people on an island. That's what I want. I don't want them to leave. I want them to stay there and be miserable
Yeah,
with each
and
other and hate
that's
each other.
so, like, obviously, they're able to, like, go out and do things, but
Sure.
they've rented this house for, like, 2-ish weeks, and they're there 2 straight weeks and not, like, get there late on Friday, leave Sunday
Yeah.
afternoon,
Yeah.
and, um, so you aren't able to have the luxury of, like, "We got into it Saturday night, I'm gonna leave early Sunday morning, and then I don't have to deal with it for 5 days." Like,
Mm-hmm.
no, you
Mm-hmm.
have to deal with it within the next 1 to 12 hours.
All right. I'm going to check it out. I know I said this last week. Danny Pellegrino, who is one of my favorite podcast about Bravo, also said that this show's great and one of the best shows
Mhm.
on Bravo. So, I respect your opinion very much. I also respect his opinion very much. So that's two people's opinions that I respect very much who are saying the show's good. And it seems like on the internet people like it too. So, I'm clearly missing out.
Yeah, I haven't seen much negative stuff about it, to
Yeah,
be
no.
honest.
No, when they have like I feel like when they have the cast on Watch What Happens Live and then like drama comes from it, like that's
Mhm.
it feels like okay, this is real.
Yeah,
This is a real show.
and there's definitely, like, other storylines. I just think that they have some, like they brought together some good, I don't want to call them characters because no one seems like they're playing a part, but
Right.
you have a lot of good personalities that have been brought together because so for example, like Silas, my enemy, he was fraternity brothers with Preston, who is the queer male in the house, and
Okay.
like you have Preston seems to be like one of the only people who will like go against Silas. And so like you have some opposition because like I mean Silas has not only the role of like um being in the only couple in the house, but he's married and him and Jasmine are
Mm,
like the people who invited everyone. Also, them being married is such like a centerpiece to like we need to or Jasmine needs to get used to being like married Jasmine and not like single. And I just didn't know that people change that much when they get married. That's a whole thing too. But you just like you have Preston who is willing to speak up, and then Amir is still fucking hot as hell. But in addition, like he's not just a pretty face.
yeah.
He's dynamic, and I like sometimes I have a hard time connecting to like the flashbacks of like being a kid and stuff, but you can see how much like being raised by someone his mom is not black and his dad is black, but his dad was never in the
Right.
picture,
You had mentioned
and
that.
just like how he is appreciating this experience and just like
Hmm.
what he brings and everything. Like I love Summer. She gets there a few days late. She's willing to speak up. Jordan is amazing. She's like gorgeous, but she's funny and she'll speak her like you just have a lot of good personalities brought together in this, and I can't say enough good things. I enjoy it.
Right. I might throw it on when we're done. Because normally I would go outside and throw on an episode of Vanderpump Rules, but I'm not doing. I'm taking my time back. I'm taking my ownership of my life back from Vanderpump Rules, and I'm going to put on
Mhm.
Summer House Martha's Vineyard instead.
I support it.
Yeah, I'm going to do it. I have trust issues with new shows. That's why I didn't watch Summer House for like 4 years. That's why
Mhm.
I just it takes me a while to like jump in. I have my people. I have my Bravo people. Those are my people. It takes me a little bit. Even with Miami, like I didn't really watch it. I didn't watch
That's
Dallas right
true.
away. Like it takes me a little while to warm up to the new people. I'm an OG housewife, so I don't like to warm up to the newbies too soon.
Makes sense.
Hmm. All right. Well, Carrie, anything else
Nope.
today?
That's
No?
it.
All right. Well, this was great. 3 weeks in a row. I'm proud of us. We did
Yeah.
it.
Mhm.
Third one in the what in the bag?
Books?
In the
Bag?
books. That's what I'm looking for in the books. Where can the people in the world who are interested find you?
The Wall Street Journal.
In the Wall Street Journal, yes. Do you know when it's getting published?
No,
Is
she
she going
said
to tell you?
yeah, she said she'll send
Okay,
me the
good.
story,
Okay.
when it's done, so, uh, I'm on Twitter tweeting enough
Yourself to fame.
things to be asked to be in a Wall Street Journal article.
Yep. So
It's
you're
still
doing
just
something right.
so wild just, like, saying that sentence out loud and it being completely factual.
I love it.
Um, so yeah, uh, KGD26 for Twitter, Instagram. I'm in my full on political prowess right now. We're gearing up to support the Virginia state and or the state elections for both the House and Senate. So if you want to see me shame people for not being politically active, come look at my stories. Otherwise, that's really it. I'm doing a lot over here. When I take a
Yeah.
step back and think about what I'm doing a lot, and not a lot is like me as an individual online. So
But
you
that's okay.
I'm not
That's
mad about
proud of
it.
you're living a real life.
Yeah, go
I
figure.
can't say the same. Wish I
There's
could.
a there's a New York Sister District group if you're
I was
interested.
actually going to talk to you about it
Oh,
when
cool,
we were
cool.
done and ask you some questions.
Nice.
Valencia is proud of us for another week. We love Valencia. Shout out to Valencia, always here, always supporting us. We love you, Valencia. Thank you for being proud of us. Yeah, for me, you can find me on Twitter at RealSomeKatie. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/RealSomeKatie with an underscore. I'm getting back in the swing of things over there. So over there on Twitch, and I'm excited. I'm having a good time over there. So, that's it. I'm not doing anything else. Working a lot, commuting to the office 2 days a week. That's
Boo.
it. Yeah, that's all I got. Going to Orange Theory. That's it. That's my whole life.
She's training for the
But
challenge.
yeah, training for the challenge. You know, you never know. Maybe they'll just like find my Twitch one day since they just seem to be casting any fucking person that just walks on the earth. So I could be asked to be on the challenge one day.
We
I'm not
won't
holding
talk
my
about
breath.
it now, but the challenge, I don't know if you were looking at like the
I think
cast
I'm
for 39.
out, but we could talk about it off.
I just think it's interesting because there's like
Yeah.
you don't have your the whole vacation alliance is like not there.
Yeah. Which is good, but
Yeah.
if you want to hear more from Silent Podcasts, you can follow us all over the internet. You can follow us at Silent Podcasts on Twitch. You can follow us at Silent Podcasts on Silent_podcast. Sorry about that, on Twitter. That's where you can keep up to date with what we are up to. You can find us on YouTube. If you search Silent Podcast, we are there. And you can watch live with most of the stuff that we cover. You can comment in the chat. We love when that happens. You can also find us available on any of your audio platforms where you listen to podcasts. So check us out there, rate us, review us, give us 5 stars if you liked what you heard. Save your rating. You only get to do it once, and I would hate for you to waste it without a 5-star. And that would be just not nice to do to us. So yeah, that's about it. Until next time, we are Pod What Happens Live. Shout out Andy Cohen for not sending us a cease and desist yet after 3 weeks. And we will be back next week with more whatever's on TV. We don't even know. Everything's changing. The whole
Not New
schedule's changing, so we'll
Jersey.
figure
Not
it
New
out. Not
Jersey.
New
That's what
Jersey,
matters.
not Scandoval.
Mhm.
All right. Bye, everybody. Have a good one, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.